Hi, so as previously mentioned in our last video, when we talked about triglycerides, we mentioned we were going to be talking about cooking oils. So today we have a brief segment on the good, the bad, and the ugly of these cooking oils. So, Joel.
So, well, thank you very much for having me again to talk about this important topic. By the way, aren't oils bad for us?
I think we've been told oils are bad for us.
Isn't fat going to make our cholesterol shoot through the roof?
We're going to get fatter. Yeah, that's what we've heard for so many years. As a matter of fact, I can honestly say that I was one of those individuals as a, nutritionist or, a health educator that's what we would say.
Truth be told,
fats are bad.
I used to say the same thing to patients. We were indoctrinated and taught in school, and particularly me in PA school, that fats were bad for us. That fats, especially saturated fats, caused plaques in our arteries and led to heart attacks.
Yeah.
So I would run the other way whenever I would see a fat.
As we mentioned before, we know that is not the case.
Now we know that's too simplistic of an idea that we once thought in nutrition and in medicine.
So let's talk a little bit about these oils. What are the goods, the bads? What can we have our audience kind of lead with and understand that? If you're using these right now, get rid of them, or if you're using the good ones, then good for you. Continue. Where can we start?
So here's a breakdown. The three types of oils that we've heard of: saturated, monosaturated fats, and polyunsaturated fats. Basically, it has to deal with if the chains of carbon have a double bond.
And we're talking about the molecular level, right? We don't want to necessarily get too scientific.
We're not going to bore the audience with that. We just want to explain why they're called one thing and not the other. The problem is we're finding out now that the more double bonds that an oil has, the more likely it is to oxidize in the process of refining it, making it, and also in storing it.
Can we think of oxidation as rusting?
Basically.
Okay, so we may be rusting inside.
With these oils, yes. Oxidation leads to inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause or the main cause of a lot of our chronic illnesses nowadays.
That is right.
So that's the concern. So what happens is whenever you cook these oils, like when you're cooking your egg or cooking whatever food, when the temperature gets high, most likely it will break that double bond and oxidize the oil, and then when it gets into your system, it causes a cascade of inflammation. So this is the reason why it's important what oils we do use and which ones are less likely to oxidize, and those are the ones that don't have double bonds, such as the saturated fats.
Okay.
And those are the fats that are solid in room temperature. And we're talking about beef tallow, we're talking about lard, or any type of animal fat. Those are not oxidizing.
So those would be our best option.
Those are the best options.
And that sounds probably completely counterintuitive to anything.
Wait, did I just say that?
Anything that anyone has ever said, although thankfully we are hearing this a little bit more and more often, but maybe not as often enough, but it no longer has the bad connotation that these.
Absolutely. I want the audience to know that if you don't think that we can make mistakes in medicine or in science, think again. There was one point in time we were bloodletting people, in other words, taking blood out of their system, and we thought that was good. So basically my point is we are finding out now that the saturated fats and even some of the unsaturated fats are better. But we do need all three. I'll explain in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go in. I do want to make note for those that maybe have never heard of these terms of mono and poly. So mono means one, poly means many, right? So when as Joel mentioned, talked about the chains or the number of bonds, that's kind of what it's referring to. So yes, go ahead and let us know maybe about that ratio and what would be the mono and then the poly?
So basically what happens is the fats that compose the mono or polyunsaturated fats of omega-3 and omega-6, also omega-9 and a couple other, but the main thing that we're going to focus on is the omega-3 and omega-6.
Okay.
I actually flip it around the other way. We used to consume a ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 of about 4 to 1. Now in the standard American diet, we're close to about 16 to 20 to 1, and that's not good because we talked about the oxidation.
6 to 3 you're talking
Correct,
about.
6 to 3. So it's a ratio of 6 to 3. We need to be around 4 to 1. That's about the healthy number because these fats are essential. In other words, we don't make them. We need to consume them. But it's the ratio that we're consuming them in. And now in the standard American diet, because of all the processed foods that are loaded with these polyunsaturated omega-6 oils, we are consuming a ratio of 16 to 20 to 1, and that's not good.
And it's so important to mention that we need these fats.
We do.
For very important processes in our body, and the main one is our brain. Our brain needs these fats. It functions.
Correct. 25% of our brain is made out of cholesterol or fat, so we definitely need it.
It's very, very important. Sometimes we don't recognize some of these symptoms, right? Or little things like brain fog or memory loss. And we may attribute that to other things and not necessarily to the fact that we are not consuming enough of these good fats.
We were told not to consume fat, so we run away from it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We need to realize that they are an essential part of our existence. Just to let the audience know, our cells are made out of fat. Our neurons, our nerve cells, brain cells are made of fat. We need fat for all of our hormones, and we could talk about that in other videos, but it's so important.
So can you talk about a little bit, I think you mentioned a little bit of the beef tallow and the lard, but can you give the audience an idea of maybe the top 3 things, the ones that we should be utilizing or should have at home?
Like I mentioned, animal fats are the best.
Okay.
So
bacon grease is good.
It's good. You want to get a pasteurized pig when it comes to that because they're feeding a lot of these animals soy and corn, and it makes them consume the omega-6.
Okay.
So that's why we want to be careful with the animals. Make sure they're pasteurized.
Grass-fed.
Grass-fed, yes. And that's why grass-fed, when it comes to beef tallow, is probably the best. Or any type of grazer animal that eats grass is probably going to be the best, highest quality. And then when it comes to the mono or polyunsaturated fats or the fats that are liquid at room temperature would be your olive oil, your avocado oil, your black seed oil, and also coconut oil.
Okay, so as far as our olive oil, it needs to be extra virgin olive
That's
oil?
the best. The more, less refined is basically what extra virgin means. The less refined, the much better.
And I know sometimes coconut oil containers or bottles will say that some are refined and some are cold pressed.
Correct.
We want to go more so for the cold
unrefined,
press.
yes. Those are the oils that take the least amount of processing to get them, because in the processing of these oils, they can oxidize as well.
Okay, so again, think of that oxidizing as our rusting. For those of you who have ever left an apple out after you've been there, and then you come back to it and it starts turning, little.
It starts rusting with the oxygen, so basically that's what happens. And that's what we're trying to avoid to put in or consume in our body, because we're putting it in our body in an inflammatory state.
So then we want to utilize these oils that you just mentioned, but also are there other antioxidants that we can utilize to kind of help with?
Well, would that be a whole nother topic for another video?
Yeah, for another.
Because what we're trying to do in the body is not create oxidation, and if we do, we need to consume things that are antioxidants that help it. We have some innate stuff such as our melatonin, our glutathione. If you want to consume it, you can consume it through your polyphenols or your berries.
Right.
They have the antioxidants.
Yep, some blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, berries only. Very good. Is there anything else that you want to mention that's, I mean, this, even though we want to make it short, it could be a little, alarming, or it could be, like mind-blowing. It could be controversial because we're suggesting, or, that animal fat is good. It's not the bad, thing that we used to
think.
Yeah.
I want the audience to know, though, there is no proof or good study out there that proves that saturated fat leads to heart disease. And that's what we're learning now. When you analyze all the data, and this has been now studied, you can look it up. One of the places that you can go on is PubMed.
Okay.
That's basically the scientific library. You can go up and find any study on anything, and you'll see there that there's no study that proves that there's a link between fat and heart disease. There is, however, studies that show that polyunsaturated fats, because they oxidize, can lead to heart disease.
Okay. So then we need to kind of avoid maybe sunflower seed oils, safflower,
grapeseed, soy, peanut. And I want you to, want the audience to understand, these are not vegetable oils, even though they've been called vegetable oils, but they're actually seed oils. I wonder why they put the name vegetable. Make it sound healthier?
Well, yeah, it's, a little catchier.
Okay.
It sounds, they just sound healthier. Like, it's a vegetable. It should be good for me.
But they're not. We're learning that they're not. So the least oxidizing oils are the monos and the saturated fats. So those are the ones we need to be consuming.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this enlightening piece of information as far as what, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the oils. So hopefully this was very beneficial. Again, please, any comments are welcome, especially on something that, a lot of people probably didn't know or aren't fully aware of. Write us, give us some comments or anything else you'd want to go into specifics about regarding the oils, cooking oils.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.